Hey my dudes, my name is Cecilia and welcome to Bageriet Lördag, the Saturday bakery. This is the third and final week of baking both pastry boxes and cookie boxes for the Christmas season. The marathon is almost over. I'm really looking forward to this week because the pastry box menu is it's just peak Christmas. It's gonna be so good. If you're new here, I run a bakery from right here in my apartment in Stockholm, Sweden. I sell pastry boxes and every box contains 4 different pastries and the menu changes each and every week. Here's what's on the menu this week. Gingerbread mini cakes with cream cheese, Swiss meringue buttercream, and Lingonberry jam. Orange brownies with dark chocolate ganache and candied orange peel. Lussekatter, Swedish St. Lucia Day buns. And saffrons kringlor, Swedish saffron sugar twists. As I said earlier, we are also selling cookie boxes. The cookie box has 7 different types of cookies in it, and while I change the pastry menu every single week, I decided to not be an insane person and keep the cookie menu the same for the whole Christmas season. Here's what's in the cookie box. Saffransdrömmar, pepparkaksgrisar, hästskår, fruitcake-kakor, vaniljsmörkollor, chokladsnittar med polkagris och norska nötkakor. All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get this week started. Tuesday was the start of my baking week. Usually I start baking, or more prepping on Wednesday for Saturday pickup day, but because we're doing cookie boxes as well as pastry boxes, I needed an extra day in my work week. I started with the Norwegian nut cookies. I made an absolutely ginormous batch. The last 2 weeks, we have made them only to find when packing boxes that were 20 short, and then we have to panic make them. And this week I was we are absolutely not doing that. We have to make a lot. And boy, oh boy, a lot did we make. Axel helped me scoop and then put hazelnuts in each and every one, and we started baking them off. While those were going in and out of the oven, I started on the vanilla caramels. This was also a really large batch, again, so we wouldn't run out. While that was on the stove boiling away, I started on the horseshoe cookies. Axel was moving the cookies in and out of the oven and occasionally stirring the caramel, so I was able to focus my complete attention on the horseshoes. These take so much time, but I think it's really fun to roll the dough into ropes and then bend them into the horseshoes. You really get a rhythm going and it just gets very meditative. We were also listening to an audiobook while working and that helped with the flow. We have finished Lamb by Christopher Moore. It was just as good as I remembered it to be, and we have now started The Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. So far, I am loving it. Anyway, in the middle of the horseshoe cookies, the caramel was ready, so I poured it into the pans with some help from Axel. Then it was back to the horseshoes, and as they baked and cooled, I stacked them in groups of 4 since there are 4 in each and every cookie box. The horseshoes were the last things to bake on this day, and once they were done, I could focus on making doughs. We made the fruitcake cookie dough, and Axel wanted to try kneading the fruit in at the end instead of mixing it in earlier, and it worked pretty well. One thing that is hard about only doing something for 3 weeks in a row is that you want to try new things, new ways of doing something, or try to find the most efficient way. And 3 times is just not enough, especially for such a big project like cookie boxes. I need to make everything at least 10 times to really find the most efficient system. Last up was the pepparkakor dough. We didn't need to make that much as we had some left over from the last week, and that dough just gets better and better the longer it sits in the fridge. We probably could have done more on this day, but I had a few errands to run and I didn't want to push it too much, so we stopped here. Wednesday was a bit of a weird day. I got started making cookies. First on the list was chocolate cut cookies. I made all the dough and started portioning and rolling out, and then I got a phone call and I had to leave and go on an errand, and that ended up taking me over 2 hours, and I was just freaking out because I was so far behind on cookie baking. Filming slows me down quite a bit actually, and usually it's not an issue, but on this day I just felt like it was way too much. So we made and baked all the cookies and packed them off camera, and wow, it was way more efficient. Thursday was a much better, much more normal day. All I had to do was buns. I was making both Lussekatter and saffransbullar, so every dough I made today was the same, a saffron-flavored sweet white yeasted dough. While the first batch was mixing, I made the butter filling for the saffransbullar, which are saffron buns and not the same as Lussekatter, but I'll get into the difference between the buns in a second. Once the filling was done, I made an egg wash for when I bake the Lussekatter, and lastly, I made a quick batch of pan release for when I make mini cakes tomorrow. The first dough was done, and man, let me tell you, there is just something about saffron dough. It is so luscious. Yes, its color is beautiful, but it's just so easy to work with. It's so elastic and just the perfect dough. I'm not sure if the saffron does anything to it, chemically. I thought at first that maybe the texture was so great because there was no cardamom in it, and the cardamom can cause the gluten to break just a little bit because it's so rough. Not a lot, of course, but just that little tiny bit. But even when I make this dough without any cardamom in it, it just isn't as nice as it is when it has saffron in it. Lussekatter translates to Lucia cats, and they are a traditional bun made for St. Lucia's Day. This is a really big deal in Sweden. St. Lucia is the patron saint of light, and her saint's day, December 13th, falls very close to the darkest day of the year, which is December 21st. Light becomes a very big deal when you live somewhere really, really freaking dark. Fun fact for those of you outside of Sweden, we have had our darkest December since 1934, with just over 30 minutes of sunlight for the entire month of December so far, at least in Stockholm. Like, it has been light out because that's how the rotation of the earth works, but it has been really cloudy and rainy, so we haven't gotten that much like actual sunlight. So it's really freaking dark and cold here, so you can understand why celebrating the patron saint of light may be important. Saffron buns are eaten around this time because saffron represents warmth and light, and also, and this is just my personal feeling, it's really expensive, so it's a little bit of luxury that makes the darker days more fun. Lussekatter always take a long time to shape, but they are so worth it. I think they're so cute. Besides them, I also made saffransbullar, which are almost the exact same thing, except Lucia buns never ever have any filling in them. As soon as the saffron bun has some sort of filling, it is no longer a Lucia bun and it becomes a saffron bun. I decided to have both in the box because saffron is one of my favorite Christmas flavors. I just can't get enough of the stuff. Friday was mini cake day. As per usual, I got started by brushing all my mini cake molds with pan release. I was listening to Wheel of Time because Axel's out and we are listening to The Expanse together, so I had to wait for him to get home. Anyway, I made the cake batter, which was gingerbread flavored. I used my go-to cake recipe, but just switched out half of the white sugar for brown sugar and then added cinnamon, cloves, and some ginger. Once the batter was made, I poured 110 grams into each and every mold and then shoved the first 2 trays in the oven. While those were baking, I filled the next 2 trays so they could go right in once the others were done. It usually takes me the same amount of time to fill 2 trays as it does for the trays in the oven to bake, which is very convenient. Then I made some lingonberry jam. I usually use 50% sugar in my jams, but because lingonberries can be so sour, I upped it to a bit over 70%. The jam didn't take too long to cook, about maybe 15 minutes, so I kind of just like stirred and chilled while it was working, and once it was done, it got put in the fridge. Next up was brownies. I sprayed the trays with spray fat so the parchment would stick, and then I brushed cocoa pan release on the parchment so the brownies would come off easily. The brownies are pretty easy to make, as most brownie recipes are. In this one, butter and golden syrup get melted together, then I throw in the cocoa powder, then the sugar, and then the eggs and a couple additions. The only thing that is difficult about this batter is that it's really quite stiff, so you have to stir carefully to make sure everything is really well incorporated. I divided the batter equally between the 3 pans and then baked off just the first 2, as I can only fit 2 in my oven at once, and then I baked off the last one by itself. While those were baking, I made a chocolate orange cremeux. I was going to make a ganache, which is just cream and chocolate together, but I really like the texture of this cremeux. It's not my favorite recipe in the world because I find it a little bit fussy to make in like an unnecessary way, but the result is really beautiful and delicious. So I'm putting up with it until I can develop a better brownie topping recipe that is easier for me to make. The finished cremeux got divided equally between the pans of baked off brownie, and I smoothed the tops out, and then I finished them off with a sprinkle of chopped candied orange peel. Finally, I could do my last task of the day, which was making Swiss meringue buttercream. I only had 2 rounds to do this week, which was nice because by the time I was making them, I was feeling just very grumpy and done with the day. Not for any real reason. Sometimes you're just grumpy and want to sit down. Saturday was really very smooth, which like, thank God. I've had a few rough bakes and they make me so anxious. Like every Saturday I get so worried that something bad is going to happen. It's so nice to have bake days that are just really smooth and everything goes well. I love a bake day that's like forgettable, you know? I started by helping the saffron buns get a little more proofed. Last week we had pulled the buns too early and the apartment was too warm, so I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to bake them off, and I was so worried that would happen again here, so we pulled these buns from the freezer a bit later, and I had kept a window cracked so the room wasn't that warm. The result was that the buns were fully defrosted and room temp by the time I got up and got started, but hadn't really started proofing yet, so I made a little proof box for them by sticking a pan of boiling water in the speed rack covered with a plastic cover. The Lussekatter were taken from the fridge so they could also begin proofing. They're smaller than the buns, so they come up to room temperature and then proof much faster, so it's too risky to pull them in the middle of the night. It's much easier for me to pull them in the morning and push them in my makeshift proof box than to hope they don't overproof while I'm sleeping. This system is also good because it staggers the proofing. If both of the buns were ready to go at the same time, some would overproof waiting for the oven, which would really suck. I do have a couple YouTube videos that touch on the subject of proofing from the fridge or from frozen, but basically buns are great because you are in complete control of them. They get put in the fridge if I want to bake them the next day, but if it's longer than 24 hours, they need to be in the freezer. Regardless of whether you freeze them, refrigerate them, or freeze then refrigerate them, the buns need to become fully room temperature before they can proof. They cannot proof when cold. Anyway, I cut the brownies into pieces while baking off all of the buns. I didn't brush the saffron twists with anything before or after they came out of the oven. I needed them to be like plain. But I did brush the Lussekatter with egg wash when they were coming out because it helps soften them and gives them a beautiful shine. Brushing them beforehand would just make them like crusty. I mixed the SMBC I made yesterday with cream cheese and then piped a dollop onto the mini cakes and made a divot in each with a hot spoon, and then the divot was filled with lingonberry jam. Simple, festive, and cute. Lastly, I brushed all the saffron buns with butter, and once I had brushed all of them, I dipped them in sugar. This is why they needed to be like naked going in and out of the oven. If I had brushed them with something, the butter and subsequently the sugar would not have been able to stick. Axel and I boxed everything up. Elias came over to help out, and then we headed down to the park to hand everything out. The table was looking so extra cute with all of the cookie boxes on it. And that's it for this week and this year. And what an incredible year it has been too. This little apartment bakery of mine has been so truly life-changing. It has been so much fun baking for everybody and connecting with everybody, and there's so many new faces around here, and I am just so grateful for everyone's support. This was the last Bageriet Lördag Saturday of the year, and also this is the last video of the year. I'm going to be taking a break for Christmas and New Year's and all through January, and we'll be back in the beginning of February with more recipes, more videos, and more Bageriet Lördag. If you want to bake the cookies that I made in the cookie boxes for yourself, I have put all of the recipes together in one handy dandy packet, and that is now on Substack for paid subscribers. I have also typed up the recipe for the gingerbread mini cakes, and both of those links are down below in the description. If you would like to buy a pastry box for yourself if you're ever in Stockholm, then follow at Bageriet Lördag for box releases and updates. If you would like more short form content, then follow at Cecilia.Talone on Instagram or TikTok. And if you want more long form videos just like this one, as well as long form recipe tutorials, then you can hit that subscribe button down below. I hope that you have happy holidays and that I will see you again next year. Hej då!